Hi, Dr. Bernstein. This is Jewel Knuckles, and this is my Strategies for Instructor Engagement presentation. We'll start with a little literature review. We know that from the Lady Shusky research that there's now evidence that learning online can be just as effective as traditional forms of education, and sometimes even superior in terms of learning outcome. We also know that according to Ali, Hudson, Carton, and Roy Ryan, which were cited in Joyner, that students' relationships with their online instructors was either no different than they would have been in a face-to-face course, or sometimes it was even better because the instructors seemed more accepting, more personable, and more professional. The exception here is that online students may not feel as if they have the time and support from their instructors compared to students in a traditional course. And when the students didn't believe that their instructors were fully engaged in the course through their communication, that their perception of the academic quality actually diminished, and the students were more likely to disengage from the course material. We also know from Dixon's research in 2010 that effective online education needs three things. It needs to be effective as traditional education instruction, and need cooperative and collaborative active learning, and that we also need a strong instructor presence, just like in traditional classrooms. Dye went on to say that in 2007, interactivity is just as important for effectiveness as what Dixon came up with. And with interactivity, any learning context should involve students responding to information, seeking the instructor's feedback, reflecting on the feedback, and then acting appropriately to tailor their learning experience. So these are the things that Dixon and Dye have found that we need for effective online instruction. So what are we looking at with the online learning? So previously, online learning kind of focused on global outcomes, the research did. The current focus is kind of on student satisfaction and how that influences or is related to the effective learning experience. Research has looked at the factors influencing student satisfaction, such as their anxiety, their feelings about learning and the learning styles, the teacher's dimensions, such as teaching and timeliness and comprehensive feedback, content like rich course material and media used in the course, and social dimensions like engagement and interactivity in the online community. So bottom line, the research suggests that there's a relationship between the instructor and the student satisfaction as far as the quality of feedback and the teaching. So how can online instructors work towards student satisfaction? Well, they need to listen to student voices, which can highlight the variables to help instructors understand the connection for students and implement them successfully. So in the Joyner research, the participants responded with 4 themes about how instructors can work towards student satisfaction. One was through connections, through interactions outside the classroom. Another was connections through classroom technology and assignments, connections through instructor feedback, excuse me, and overall connections with the instructors. They also concluded that to be effective, online instruction required strong methodology and opportunities for the students to interact with each other and the instructor. And this came from Dixon in 2010. So now we know how important engagement is in effective online teaching and learning, so we can look at some engagement strategies. Research from Day in 2007 tells us that they should be relevant to the content, they should be associated with the course and the course outcomes, and that engagement strategies should be active involvement from the students, which will increase retention, and it should be fun and rewarding. So Lady Shusky cited Garrison and Vaughn and gave us 3 strategies of engagement to focus on. And these 3 strategies are social presence, cognitive presence, and teaching presence. So we're going to focus on these categories and strategies that instructors can use to satisfy them in their online courses. So in Dixon's 2010 article, It describes social presence as a way to translate virtual activities into impressions of real people. So basically, a way for the person online and through the computer to actually seem like a person in real life. So you can do this by activities that include information or clues about personal histories, about the personalities, their current circumstances, their personal situations, and this is for both the students and for the instructor to give the impression to the other students that this is a real person that you're talking to. So the social presence is, especially the instructors, is necessary component to the effective online instruction because students want to feel like they are being taught by a real person and they want to actually get the experience of a traditional classroom. And this actually makes sense because we also know from Dixon's research that students need to feel connected to the instructor and the other students in the course for them to actually feel like there's been some effective learning going on. So in the 2014 Joyner research, they discuss a few points about the important concept of social presence. One is that it follows the social constructivist theory that knowledge is created from collaboration with others. Also, since an online class doesn't provide the live interaction, it helps to build a sense of community. Finally, students report a feeling of social presence when they get positive feedback about their work, when they participate in online discussions that challenge their thinking, and when they feel connected with classmates through course activities and outside the classroom. The 2013 Lady Shusky research tells us that the social presence is vital to heighten participation and a motivation to learn. It also gives ideas for creating a social presence, such as welcoming and acknowledging each other, sharing information about one another, and providing supportive comments about discussion posts and about questions. In Dixon's 2010 research, it gives us ideas for creating a social presence with collaborative activities such as group discussions, student-to-student interaction in general. Basically anything that involves interaction in a cohesive environment like group work, regular assignments, and solid feedback from the instructor. Some strategy ideas for online instructors to create a social presence in their classroom would be using technology for live communication like the phone or online chatting, or even face-to-face like video chat or webcams. Some cool ideas from Di in her 2007 article where that was the idea of an interview report or using a live classroom. So for the interview report, she figured it would help reduce loneliness and increase an awareness of the learning community. And she'd have students do something more than just a regular introduce yourselves to each other, but actually have students interview each other and then report back to the rest of the community, which helps with this feeling of connectedness and social presence. So the 2013 Lady Shusky article also explains cognitive presence that's linked to perceptions of learning and involves constructing and confirming meaning through critical conversations and reflections that are often facilitated by the instructor. Joyner described how this concept supports the constructivist theory and that humans can build knowledge and meaning through interactions with each other and their environment by bringing unique skills, attitudes, beliefs to the learning process. So in an online class, students develop skills in communication and critical thinking, and this is all part of the cognitive presence. Di discusses strategies to confirm a cognitive presence, such as student presentations, group presentations, which can also help bring the social presence. She also suggests cool ideas like using games for confirming knowledge and giving a chance to reflect on and to be interactive in the class learning. So examples of the games and the chance to reflect on learning would be like flashcards, crossword puzzles that you can make yourselves, cards, and other fun, non-threatening activities that reinforces the class content. So Dixon describes in her 2010 research that the teaching present is an effective design, facilitation, and direction of cognitive and social processes in the classroom. So an important factor of the teaching presence that all the research discusses is teacher feedback, where the students consider the grade or the verbal or written comments for performance of a task as the feedback. Students discuss the importance of not only effective but thorough feedback and to make sure that it's timely. The Lady Shusky 2013 research discusses how in creating a teaching presence, the responsibility of the teacher is to provide balance of the course between schoolwork and socializing. So you want to make sure that it's structured, you want to make sure that there's communication going on and discussion, but that it all stays on task. And this all depends on the design and the organization of the course, and also the clarity of the expectations of the coursework, and then how well those plans are actually facilitated by the teacher. So some examples of teaching presence strategies were shared by Di in her 2007 article, which is a really cool article, that she shared ideas for implementing teaching presence, which includes guest speakers, like having guests come to discussion boards sometimes, or even having video chat sessions, offering peer reviews and critiques to keep the structure, but also the teaching facilitation going on, and having an attractive and interactive course website so that students knew what was happening and where they could go for information. She gave an idea of a syllabus quiz, which satisfies the component of creating clarity of the course design and expectations and facilitating understanding so that everyone knew what was expected of them before they go into the class. And also it set the standard for what her teaching presence was and what her expectations of the class was. She also had a example of a feedback survey that helps with gathering feedback midway through the course, or actually a third of the way into the semester, which would give the teacher a chance to make ongoing changes as necessary. So the teaching presence, the cognitive presence, and the social presence are all strategies that online teachers can use to be effective in their online teaching, and those are some examples for how they can do it. So these are my references that I used today, and they'll be included in my piece. Thank you.